We know that 5 and 6 turns into 7. 5 plus 6 equals 11. 5 and 6 turns into 7. 5 plus 6 equals 11. Don't do that no more. Just be you more. Don't do that no more. Just be you more. Don't do that no more. Just be you more. We don't do that no more. Just be you more.
Greetings and peace, Islam. So we have a few short Moorish readings today. Manners of the Moors. Ernest von Werdig. So this is from The Perception of a European. The correspondent of The Sun at Tangier mentions a number of curious Moorish customs. To honor a person, he says, the European arises and removes his hat. The Muslim remains seated with his head covered. When entering a place of worship or a house, instead of removing his hat, the Muslim takes off his shoes and leaves them outside the door. We consider the right side as the place of honor, the Moors the left. When inviting a friend to enter his house, the Moor steps in first and lets his guest follow him. Kissing the hand is a sign of respect with us. The Moor, when saluting, kisses his own hand. That reminds me of, instead of saying your honor, my honor. It would not be very dignified for a European king to carry an open umbrella when in kingly attire. In Morocco, the umbrella is the emblem of imperial majesty, and no one else is permitted to carry one. All of this is only a matter of custom. There are many habits, however, which would never be brought to correspond with our own. I hardly need mention polygamy, the secrecy with which females are surrounded and hidden from view, nor the existing slavery, which cannot be stopped. We take our meals by daylight and sleep at night. In the month of Ramadan, festival of the Mohammedans, they partake not of a drop of water nor a morsel of food in daylight. They take their meals at night and spend the night in extravagant feast, and quote unquote, we undress for our night rest. The Mohammedan sleep in his daily dress. His day of worship and rest is Friday instead of Sunday. We write from the left to the right. He writes from the right to the left. We begin to read a book on the first page. His page is our last. Herr von Werdig finds in fact that the European and Moorish civilizations have nothing in common, which is pure BS because everything the European learned was from the Moors. But like I said, this was from a European perspective. At the old Cuban town of Guinness, which is scarcely more than a village, the loiterer has much to study and enjoy. It is more Moorish than Havana, more Doric than any village of the Holy Land, as pretty as a rose-embowered garden. I wanted to speak about Cuba and the Panama Canal, how they're closing it down and making all the European ships go all the way around because they're not paying what they're supposed to. I was doing my studies in regards to Iran. In all of the old papers, it speaks of the British and United States trying to take over all their oil, and all their resources. But it said that there's a road that goes through Iran that goes into Russia and then can go on over into North America. So they're trying to use the North American route because they're having problems with the South. I have the newspaper article where it speaks of Alaska and all of the cold lands starting to thaw out and become greenery. Just like Noble Drew Ali said, when the European goes back home, things will go back to the way it was. Grand Sheik showed a video of an old map that showed crocodiles and everything in the North Pole, that it was more Amazon than freezing. I feel also these floodings and stuff that's happening around Florida and all that, I feel like they're trying to make another water route so they don't have to deal with the bottom south of the Panama, so they can slide on down to the bottom and at least get closer to the west without going all the way around. But their main goal is coming through the north through Canaan land. Just like Putin said, the U.S. started squeezing closer and closer around Alaska, closer towards the territory, and that's what started all this. He's seen their tanks starting to move closer and closer near the Straits of Tinland. We'll close out with a Moorish reading from 1844. This is General Waddy Thompson on Texas. He's speaking of the annexation, and we did a previous demonstration in regards to the Hawaiian annexation where they wanted to become U.S. citizens, and it said it extinguished their nationality. So here they're going to speak about the annexation of Texas. In a few years, many of them must become free states, and thus Texas proved the means of uniting a large portion of the present slaveholding parts of the Union in interest, sentiments, and action, with the North and West where slavery is unknown and disliked. The most important exportable product of the United States, the regulator of their exchanges and bond of union, cotton, cannot be profitable cultivated without slaves, nor can sugar or rice. But looking forward to the providential era when slavery may exist no longer to parts of the United States, Mexico has no slaves because her population of the quote-unquote white, black, and red races is blended in her neighborhood and near, if not with her people. The colored inhabitants of this country may be united eventually in national numbers. You hear that? National. With the strength, the character, and the institutions of an independent people. You can't be independent unless you have a nation. It takes a nation to be independent. That national combination may be accomplished without revolution or commotion. Here we go. An African native may arise, the descendants of the Moorish. You hear that? An African nation may arise, the descendants of Moorish, other African and Indian progenitors, with the improvements of free government engrafted in their sovereignty. I repeat, sovereignty. Instead of eternalizing slavery, calm consideration of its connection with the United States encourages the hope that it may end in Texas, peacefully and gratefully disappear there. But it still hasn't disappeared. Liberia, Canaan land, Haiti, abolition of slavery in the slaveholding states, even gradual emancipation in the free states, all schemes of either uniting whites with blacks or separating them in the same communities without the degradation of the blacks. Often worse than, and it says often worse than bondage, because it is worse than bondage, because they're still staying in a dead status. At least when you're in slavery, you know you're in slavery, but it's worse when you're in slavery and don't even know it. So I'm going to go ahead and close out. I ask that if you haven't seen the video, Mysteries of Azor, you go check that out in regards to the Moorish Atlanteans. They found an island with Moors on it, 1,000 or more. Also, go and support a Mexican Almanac, the 3 booklets, the Herbs booklet, Little Green Star, Sheikh Ali and his student Muhammad. Honors to everyone who's got the Herbs booklet. So many Moors and so many people's got the Herb booklet and the Green Star. I do have 2 to 3 pounds of my own formulas for personal use. However, I will send them to brothers and sisters if they're not on prescription pills. If you're not on any prescriptions, I will send this to you. Some of these herbs are very strong and I don't know how you would react with prescription pills being in your system. But I leave you in love and peace. Divine honors to Prophet Noble Drew Ali and the Moorish Divine and National Movement of the world, Islam.
Good afternoon. Court is prepared. Whether you are joining us in person in the courtroom, we have technology in place to allow the court's work to continue